Okay, this week I wanted to put my comments on Kaepernick and his little protest. If you haven't been watching the news lately, Kaepernick is a 49ers quarterback who has been sitting out of the national anthem and protest of the oppression and the ill treatments of blacks. He says that he doesn't hate the U.S. I believe that he doesn't hate the U.S. He doesn't hate his country. He doesn't hate vets, etc. That his only thing is that he's standing in protest of the ill treatment and the oppression of blacks. And he specified more of the police killings that has been happening as of lately. So a lot of people have been giving him a lot. There's been a lot of anger towards him for protesting the flag, being unpatriotic and stuff like that. So when you protest something, usually you stand against the thing that you're protesting. It's like if he's not standing for the national anthem or the flag, those are symbols. And those symbols mean something. The national anthem means something. The flag means something. It stands for these ideals and these principles. And so when people see him not standing for the national anthem, they say it's easy to believe that he's standing against liberty, justice, and freedom, and those type of ideals. I don't believe he is. He says he's not. I think that there's a confusion. I think he's a bit of an idiot because there's some confusion between what he's protesting and the symbolism he's using to protest. Kind of like saying I'm protesting Germany by not eating Mexican food. And a lot of people are saying, why do you hate the Mexicans? Oh, I'm not. I'm protesting the Germans. It's kind of this type of confusion type here. I think he's just a bit of an idiot. There has been some apologists out there saying, oh, the flag and the national anthem is not meant for us, meaning black people, saying it doesn't represent us. Yeah, kind of rolling my eyes here. It doesn't represent anybody. It is an ideal. Our country falls short of those ideals. We know that. There's a slew of organizations out there trying to fight towards that ideal, even though they might stand diametrically in opposition. Like the NRA believes it's fighting for freedom, and the people who are against gun control, who are against guns and want gun control, are also believe they're fighting for freedoms. And so there's a whole slew of organizations out there trying to fight for these ideals, even though they might be diametrically opposed to how they believe it should get done. So it really doesn't stand for anybody. Another great example is that I've watched on a Boyce Watkins channel when he talked about freedom and that we're not really free, talking mainly towards black people. Black people aren't free. And he gave the example of cereal. We have hundreds of choices of cereals. You might say, oh, wow, look at all those hundreds of choices of cereal. We're free to choose whatever we want. And then he says, but I want to eat broccoli for breakfast. This is his example. And if your head starts to hurt at this point, don't worry, it gets even worse. I'm just going to use an example of broccoli cereal just to make the point even more ridiculous of what he actually is making a ridiculous statement. Is that because we don't have broccoli cereal, we're not truly free. And then he throws in a conspiracy theory about the cereal company being in cahoots with the store manager and all this other stuff. It's like, come on, I don't know. You could be the blackest person ever and the most conspiratorial believer ever, but you seriously can't believe that there is a conspiracy between the store owner and the cereal company for not making broccoli cereal or having broccoli for breakfast. I mean, you do understand you have to be a retard to make a broccoli cereal. So, yeah, okay, so we're not truly free. Freedom is an ideal thing we're trying to go for, even though we might not reach it perfectly. We don't have perfect freedom, you might say. Okay, that's fine. So there is this discrepancy there. That's fine. So I seriously believe that he's a bit of an idiot in the way he's actually protesting, but he did it to get people's attention. Okay, Kaepernick, you got my attention. So what is he protesting? He's protesting the oppression of black people. Okay, that's kind of vague. You go out there, how are they being oppressed? Okay, they're, what type of ways? He specifically stated the killing of the cops killing people and getting away with it. I'm just going to make this video short. I had a whole thing on the cops shooting and stuff like that. Suffice it to say, I see no racism. I see that I believe that the cops should carry guns and should use them only in certain cases, and that those certain cases are the criteria that have been met. The cops all have been justified. Some might say blacks are being disproportionate. Okay, I use the word disproportionate in other videos. Okay, so yes, here. So the cops are disproportionately using violence against blacks, killing blacks at a disproportionate rate as to whites. Okay, that has been debunked. Blacks commit a disproportionate amount of crime. You can dispute that or not, but the fact is that they are going to get in confrontations with the police at a disproportionate amount of rates because you need to arrest these people. So you'll get in confrontations with the police at a disproportionate amount of rates. And so of course you're going to see disproportionate amount of killings if everything is fair, So all this has been debunked to me. I'm just going to leave it at, after studying the issue, no, Kaepernick, I am not going to support your cause. I do not believe in your cause. And I actually would fight against your cause, because I see that in most of the case, the cops are right. In the case of Michael Brown, for example, even our black president with the black DOJ coming in to investigate the situation, even they came out saying Wilson was in the right. So no, I am not going to support this cause, and I don't believe so. You can sit down all you want. As far as other oppressions, I might join you in some other cause. I believe that there are a lot of things in the justice system, judicial system, that we can do better. The school to prison pipeline, or whatever that's called. Yeah, I think we can do better at that. We can do better at a lot of things. I'm willing to listen and to help out. I might not believe it's racism. We can have big discussions on that, but I'm not going to believe it's racism. So, one last thing. A lot of the apologists of Kaepernick go off on saying don't stand for the Star-Spangled Banner because it's racist. For those who do not know, in the third verse of the Star-Spangled Banner is what they're talking about. And I want to address that right now. So this one I looked into a little bit because I found it kind of interesting and I didn't know much about. For those who know the history of the Star-Spangled Banner, it was written in the war. There was a battle between British and the United States, and that gave the inspiration for the Star-Spangled Banner. Well, I knew that much, but there's a verse in there that many construe as racist, and therefore, a lot of black people are saying, black people shouldn't stand for the Star-Spangled Banner. Well, I'm going to put my little take on this and what I believe about it, because I feel quite strongly about this, especially about this verse. And so, during this war, the British wanted to recruit more people, so they went off and recruited a lot of slaves and ex-slaves and that type of thing to fight against the United States. And a lot of, they said, we will give you your freedom if you basically fight with us. That's the main deal that they gave to him. So in this verse, I'm just going to read this. That's a little historical context. Let me just read the verse for you. It says, and where is that band who so vauntly swore that the havoc of war and the battle's confusion, a home and a country, should leave us no more? Their blood was washed out, their foul footsteps pollution. No refuge could save their hireling and slave from the terror of flight or the gloom of the grave, and the star-spangled banner in triumph doth wave over the land of the free and the home of the brave. Absolutely, I am 100% on board with this verse. I don't really care who you are out there. I don't care if you're black or white, slave or free, or anybody. The moment you fight against the United States, I am going to absolutely stand 100% with the United States. And so the moment you do, you bring up, these people had an absolute right, an absolute grievance. Being a slave is not a good thing. I'm sure they wanted their freedom. But the moment you switch and take up a gun and start shooting at cops, or burning down gas stations, or fighting fervently against this country, that is where the lines are drawn. And so he's absolutely right, and I believe the United States will stand even against these people, and no refuge could save the hireling and slave from the terror of flight or the gloom of the grave, because we will stand up. I will absolutely always stand up for our broken, corrupt, immoral government, because I believe the ideals it stands for, justice, liberty for all, freedom, and so much more, that as we fight for these ideals, our country can be perfected and reach a level of perfection that has not been seen by any other country in the history of the world. And that is what I'm fighting for. And I don't care. And so if you're out there wanting to fight against the U.S. government, I'm not saying Kaepernick is. I think Kaepernick is quite retarded in the manner in which he's doing his protest, because there are a slew of people out there, protesting in different ways. But the moment you switch the sides, start fighting against us, that is where I will stand up and fight for my country.